All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another one of my thoughts on a controversial topic. Um, so, in my other video, I talked about yellow fever and the problem with white men. If you want to check out that video, the link will be in the description below. Um, so, go check it out if you haven't already. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you about the problem with Asians and white fever. Now, I've already called out white people on their bull in regards to yellow fever, but unfortunately, I have to call out my own on their bull crap in regards to white fever. And yes, it does exist. Um, I've noticed that the majority of Asians are going for white people. And of course, now, I mean, I think things are slowly starting to change. Interracial dating is becoming a little bit more common, but for the most part, they're mostly going for white people, and it's not because they just happen to fall in love with the right person. It's really because of racism. Let's just stop fronting. Like, let's stop kidding ourselves and try to argue about how it's based on love and all this, because really it's not. I mean, because like when you really think about it, it's you look at the history of Asia and you'll see that pretty much um, it's been dominated by the white. White has been seen as the ideal form of beauty in many parts of the world. So especially in the West and in Asia too. Um, so and it's a problem. And I think that a lot of people, including Asians, they don't want to admit it. They don't want to admit that they're racist, and it's easy to see because you see them hang out with white people like in the media and in person. I've seen it happen in person too. Um, when I was in school, I'd almost always see Asians hanging out with white people. Very rarely did I see them hang out with black people. Did I see them hang out with mixed race people, dark skinned people? You rarely saw that. And in the media, like you see who do you see? You mostly see Asians with white people. White man dating an Asian woman. Rarely do you see uh, an Asian woman dating a black man or uh, or mixed race man or a dark skinned man, whatever his race is, like whatever non-white race he is. We rarely see that happen. Um, so like it's a problem. I mean, I've met like I've met a couple of Asians who are racist, and they admitted it too because um, we were friends at the time, so they thought that it was okay to admit it because we're friends. But other than that, you really wouldn't see them admitting it. I mean, unless they figured that they could trust you and you wouldn't call them out on it. Uh, but that's just the reality, and I think it needs to change. Like, we got to stop promoting racism, um, and colorism, because it's just hypocritical. How are you going to promote um, interracial dating and be all for equality and all this, preaching this stuff, and as an Asian person, but you're going for a white person, and you're excluding all the other races, blacks, um, you know, all other races, like, are just thrown out the window. Any dark skinned person is just shoved out there, out of the dating pool. Don't even pay attention to them. It's just stupid. It's hypocritical. And I think that the problem with Asians is that they're so obsessed with being accepted by mainstream white people that they'll gladly give up their heritage, and they'll gladly engage in these self-hating behaviors if it means that they'll get like some kind of status, like they'll be elevated to some kind of higher status by whites. And the harsh reality is it's never going to happen, at least not the way that they're doing, the way they're going, putting down minorities and trying to uplift the white man, try to stroke his ego to get some higher place in society. It's just, and the reality is it's not going to work. Why? Because at the end of the day, you know, white men, all they care about is themselves. All they care about is is you feeding their white ego. And for the Asian women who think that by sucking up to the white man and doing whatever he wants you to do, like, if you think that's gonna somehow bring you to his level, then you're wrong. Why? Because you're a woman. At the end of the day, you're a woman. And same with white women. They think that they are somehow a special exception because they're white, and it's like, no, you got it wrong. White men dominate them just as much as they dominate Asian women. They might dominate white women, put white women on a higher pedestal than Asian women, but it's still the same. You know, they're both women, and most most white guys are sexist, and I think most guys are sexist in general, but I'm talking specifically about white guys. And so yeah, I mean, I think, like, look at it's clear to see that there's hypocrisy in the Asian community. They want to be represented, but they don't want to talk about movements like Black Lives Matter and all these other movements, all these other races. They don't want to fight for equality for every race. I mean, because I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but I haven't seen uh, a large movement of. I have not seen Asians creating a movement similar to Black Lives Matter, fighting for uh, the rights of minorities. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen them on the news doing things to promote change in for minorities in general. I mean, I've seen them. I mean, yeah, they might have a little movement here and there. That promoting affirmative action, but they're only looking out for themselves. You know, they're not trying to really look at their racism issue inside their own community. And so it's hypocritical. And you can see the race that you can see that Asians have a race problem because um, I was reading an article on interracial dating, and there was this couple, this Chinese woman who went with a black guy, and all a lot of the Chinese men there, a lot of the Chinese people in general, they were outraged by it. They were sending death threats. They were attacking them, trying to split them up because the guy was black, and in their minds, the girl was betraying her race and and just doing stuff that they just weren't okay with. And it's ridiculous. Look at people like Constance Wu, who whom I've heard she talks bad about white men and how they have yellow fever and all this stuff, but look at who she's dating, white guys, or has dated, you know, it's all these white guys. So like you can't be talking about how white guys are um, should accept you for who you are, but then you don't want to date a black guy when he does the exact same thing, or he does it and the white guy doesn't, and just because he's black, it's hypocritical. It's just garbage. So I think that's the with uh, problem with the Asian community, and it's uh it's just really hypocritical, and and I think it needs to be called out, and it's sad how even they have problems with each other. Like, you see the light skinned Asians, they pretend that dark skinned Asians don't exist. Like I talked about in my colorism video. In the media, you almost always see light skinned Asians in in these Asian dramas, the movies, the shows. Never see a dark skinned Asian. Why? Because of racism. So, um, so yeah. I mean, I think that this 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 is a huge problem because white people, they're not going to accept Asians as equals. Why? Because at the end of the day, it's all about white power. It's all about feeding the white man's ego. He really doesn't. The white man doesn't care about minorities. If the only reason the only reason white guys like Asian women is because they're like light skinned. Well, maybe not the only reason, but I think that's probably the main reason why they like them, because they're light skinned. And it's also because of racist and sexist stereotypes. But I think if they were dark skinned, forget about it. So I think that Asians need to really question their beliefs and really start thinking about why they want you know white people so badly, because white people, they're nothing special. They have light skin, but it's just light. It's not going to elevate you to a higher status like you think it is. It's it's just the only status that it's going to elevate is the one they have in their own minds, because they're just going to brag about how they have a minority who's light skinned, and they're just going to use that as a trophy, and and it's really going to be all about them and not you. So um, so just wanted to point that out there. You know, hopefully, I mean, what do you guys think? Are you agree? You disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and share your share your experiences, share other thoughts you may have, and like this video, subscribe to my channel, comment, and I'll see you later.